Good afternoon, everybody. Hey, welcome to my weekly market update. Getting started a little bit late today. Had a bunch of new buyers this week that were getting into contract for their home or wanting to get pre-approved. And so I had to shift my market update to a little bit later on. So here we are a couple hours later than normal, but still coming at you every week with my market update. So let's dive in and talk about what's going on this week. So first of all, big week ahead for interest rates. So next week, we've got the Federal Reserve meeting on Tuesday and Wednesday. There is a lot of talk about, hey, the Fed, it's time for them to drop interest rates. And are they going to do it? Are they going to do it in their meeting in July? Are they going to wait until their meeting in September? There's a lot of unknowns. I don't think the Fed's going to drop interest rates next week. I think that the Fed is likely to drop interest rates in September. And then we've got Friday is going to be the jobs report. So jobs and inflation, jobs and inflation, jobs and inflation. I keep talking about jobs and inflation because that's what it's all about. Now, we had yesterday the GDP numbers. It's a gross domestic product. That is basically the indicator that is used as a general rule of thumb of whether we're in a recession or not. And this whole inflation issue and the whole issue of the Fed raising interest rates is now the question of, can they achieve a soft landing, which is to get inflation down without throwing the economy into a recession. Well, yesterday, we had actually an increase in the productivity of the United States, and the GDP went up. And that's a good sign that maybe the Fed is threading the needle where they're getting inflation down and the economy has not crashed. So now the question becomes, what is the jobs report going to look like next Friday? That's a really big one. I think it's going to move the market. The question is it going to move the market in a positive or a negative way? And it is hard to handicap. It's hard to know. But right now, the people who are deciding interest rates, they are making predictions today on what rate they're going to charge you, already thinking about all of these things. They're already assuming that sometime either next week, not likely, or a month and a half from now when the Fed meets in September, the Fed is likely to lower interest rates. And so they've already built that into the numbers. They've already baked the cake and put it in the oven using the expectation rates are going to fall. So a lot of people are saying, hey, John, should I wait for rates to fall before buying? Should I wait for the Fed to lower rates before buying? It's too late by then. So and I keep talking about it every single time, every single week, just be cautious. If you are saying, hey, I don't want to pull the trigger yet, especially for my Dream for All voucher winners. You're saying, oh man, I want to wait until September to write offers because I think the Fed's going to lower rates in early September. First of all, if you got your voucher when they were first released, you are literally 4 weeks in. It was 4 weeks ago today. You have essentially 12 weeks, almost 13. But you're running out of time. You've already burned up 1/3 of the time. You do not want to burn up another 6 weeks from now waiting to see if the Fed lowers rates. And guess what? Rates won't go down because they lowered rates. Rates might go down after the Fed lowers rates because of what the Fed says they're looking at doing in the future. But we already have predicted the Fed is going to lower rates in September. Most of the economic indicators say the Fed's going to lower interest rates. And so that's already part of where we've seen interest rates come down over the last month. So just be aware of that fact as you're trying to figure out your timing on things. Sometimes timing can backfire, especially if you're waiting specifically for an interest rate to be announced, because the Fed doesn't control mortgage rates. They just influence the market, and the market already knows the Fed's likely to lower rates. All right, so I want to talk about new programs for low-income buyers. There are a lot of new programs for low-income buyers that are out right now, and I want to share a few of them with you really quickly, just to give you a rough idea of what's available. I'll be talking more about this in the coming weeks and sharing more about these programs, but I want to pull up some info on the first one, which is called ReCover California. So ReCover California is designed as a program to help people who were in actually lived through major wildfires in 2018 and 2020. Now, obviously, we've got some pretty major wildfires going on right now. Our hearts and prayers go out to everybody who's impacted by them. The state government is trying to find a way to help those that were in a high fire zone get out of that zone. And so here's how this program is going to work. It's a pretty exciting program, but it's for a very small group of people. So let's share my screen. So the first thing is the big $350,000. Yeah, $350,000 of available down payment assistance money that is fully forgiven in 5 years. Fully forgiven in 5 years, you can get up to $350,000. Now there's a catch. There's always a catch. Okay, so it is up to $350,000, and it's based on how much money you need to make your payment affordable. It's designed for people who, individuals and families, to relocate and purchase a home outside of high or very high fire severity zones. Specifically, homeowners and renters that are low to moderate income households. So that's the key. You have to make under 80% of the area median income, and you have to have owned or rented as your primary residence a property that was in either in 2018 in Butte, Lake, Los Angeles, or Shasta counties, or in 2020 in Butte, Fresno, Los Angeles, Napa, Shasta, Santa Cruz, Siskiyou, Solano, and Sonoma counties. And so if you owned a home or rented a home in 2018 in one of these 4 counties, or in 2020 in one of these, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 counties, you are likely eligible for this program. But you have to be under 80% of the area median income for the location you're buying in. And it's based on today's area median income numbers. And it's based on your entire household income. It's not just based on the income of the person who's on the loan. It's based on the entire household income. But here's the thing. This is actually a program for people who never thought they could buy a home and never think even today that they can buy a home. And I'm going to give you an example of the math on how this program works. It is a program, if you meet that criteria of having lived as your primary home, either owned or rented, in one of those counties, in one of those at the time of the date that the presidential major disaster area was declared, and you say, you know what, I only make $2,500 a month. And so I can only afford $1,250 in a monthly payment. And that means that I can only afford a $100,000 home. Like, that's all I can qualify for is a $100,000 home. How in the world can I buy a house for $100,000 in California? I can't buy anywhere because I don't make enough money. But with this program, you qualify for $100,000. They give you an extra $350,000. You can be shopping for a home at $450,000, and you're going to have a mortgage payment of $1,250 a month. A $450,000 home with a mortgage payment of $1,250 a month. Now, very, very few people this is going to reach, but I need your help. I need your help if you know somebody who thinks I cannot buy a home because I don't make enough money, and they lived in one of these high wildfire zones in one of these in this time frame, and they're looking to buy outside of a high wildfire zone. That's the final key. When you buy the home, you buy outside of a high wildfire zone because they're trying to get you out of harm's way. If you meet that criteria, you can get up to $350,000, and it's forgiven after 5 years. You literally get a $450,000 home for $1,250 a month. And you literally can do that on a fixed income of $2,500 a month. You could literally be making well below the area median income and buy a home, an average priced home in that market. And imagine if you were making $5,000 a month. Now you can qualify for a $2,500 mortgage. So maybe now you're qualified for a $300,000 mortgage, but you can buy a $600,000 home on a payment like a $200,000 or $300,000 mortgage. So it is a very, very, very amazing program. It's just going to be one that's tough to fit into the box. It's going to be tough to find the buyers that qualify. So help me help these people to find out who's going to fit into this criteria of getting this $350,000 home buyer assistance. All right, there's another program. Same concept, a little bit different what the rules are, but the same concept. This one provides up to $7,000 of a grant to purchase a home for people that make under 80% of the area median income. But one of the buyers has to live in a designated census tract, a census tract that is specified by Fannie Mae as being a target area that they're trying to grow home ownership. And so this list shows, now this does not mean if you live in this area, you automatically qualify, but it means that the census tracts that you can use to get this $7,000 program, a census tract is they take the city and they break it up into groups to do the census every 10 years. Those are called census tracts. And so if you are in the Atlanta, Sandy Springs, Roseville, Georgia area, or Baltimore, Maryland, or Brownsville, Texas, Chicago, Illinois, Cleveland, Ohio, Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, Detroit, Michigan, Houston, Texas, McAllen, Texas, Memphis, Miami, New York, Oklahoma City, Orlando, Philadelphia, Phoenix, Riverside, or San Bernardino, California, San Antonio, Texas, or St. Louis, Tampa Bay, or Washington, D.C. If you were in any of those regions, and I'll share more about this, I'll kind of just scroll up and down a little bit, just in case you're trying to catch what the different regions are, there is a good chance that you qualify for this program based on the first criteria, which is you must be within a targeted census tract. So the federal government is targeting specific geographical regions, saying we want to drive home ownership for people in those regions. But you don't have to buy in that region. Just one buyer has to live in that region right now and in that specific census tract. So you might live in one of these regions and not be eligible because maybe your census tract is not eligible. But this program, if you are under 80% of the area median income and you are living in one of these census tracts and you are a first-time home buyer, you can get $7,000 as a grant towards your down payment. So it is an amazing program. Again, my goal, my job, my responsibility is to help you figure out what programs are out there for you. And I'm going to continue to introduce them to you because if there is a will, there is a way. I have the will, we will find the way. So let me help you make that happen. So here again, the rest of the list here on different geographic regions that may qualify you for this program. All right. There's also Wish funds still available. So the Wish program is a pretty cool program. It allows you to purchase a home and they match you 4-to-1. So if you give $7,000, they'll give you $28,000. It's forgiven after 3 years. It's from the San Francisco Federal Home Loan Bank, the same group that gave us the middle income program. But this one's only for people under 80% of the area median income. So if you are a low to moderate income buyer, there's lots of programs. There's more of them that I'm finding that I'll continue to introduce you to over the coming weeks and months. All right, quick Dream for All update. First of all, we're a month in. Literally, those of you who got a voucher, you have squandered 1/3 of your time to go find a home. Be aware of that. Number 2, did your lender properly cancel your reservation? So I ran into something this week that CalHFA didn't prepare us for, didn't tell me about. Now, it's not their job to tell me about everything, but we had a client who started with another lender, got a voucher, got into contract with their lender, and they canceled that contract and they decided not to buy. And they really weren't comfortable with the advice that they were getting. And so they decided they wanted to switch to me. And earlier this week, we went to lock in their interest rate and it said the voucher's been rejected. And we thought, well, what do you mean it's rejected? Like it was canceled. Come to find out, A, they didn't cancel it properly. They only canceled the lock. They didn't cancel the reservation. So that was critical. B, your voucher can be used over and over again, but not the same voucher number. So you have to get a new voucher number. And so when you cancel the reservation, 48 hours later, a new voucher is submitted into your portal. Now, I don't know yet because I haven't gotten the new voucher. I don't know if your time frame starts over. I'm guessing no, but you get a new voucher number. So we'll find out and I'll let you know if the time frame starts over. The second thing I want to bring up is a question that I've been asked by a few clients, which is, hey, can I buy when I'm out of the country? I have some people who have Dream for All vouchers, or even if you're not a dreamer, and you just say, hey, I want to buy a house. I found the right house and I'm not in the country right now. Can I buy a home living outside of the country? Or not living, traveling outside of the country? The answer is yes. There's a few key things that have to happen. First and foremost, how do you pick the home? Do you have somebody here that can pick the home and be your eyes and ears? Or do you have your realtor help you to figure out what home is going to suit your needs by walking through and doing a video tour for you? Maybe that's an option. So that's the first thing, picking your home. The second thing is, how do you sign the contract? Well, you can DocuSign a lot of stuff. So DocuSign actually works out pretty well. That's the same way we'd sign the initial disclosures. But then the question becomes, how do you sign the final paperwork? If you are not in the country, you have two ways to sign the final paperwork. One is that you sign the paperwork with a power of attorney. So you have to physically sign a power of attorney and get it notarized that says this person is authorized to buy this particular house at this particular address for me. It is called a specific power of attorney. That is different than a general power of attorney that says, hey, this person can handle my financial affairs. We will not allow someone with a general power of attorney that says you can handle my financial affairs to buy a house on your behalf. That's a little bit bigger than a general power of attorney. So it's got to be specific that you sign saying they can sign all the paperwork for this home for me. That has to be signed in person. Now, if you're already out of the country, you can do that at the embassy, the U.S. embassy near you. You go there, you set an appointment, and you have it signed with a notary at the U.S. embassy, and then you send the original back. So that's the easiest way to do that. The easier way is before you leave the United States, you get into contract, and then you sign the power of attorney then so that we have a copy of it that's signed here. If none of those options work, you can actually sign all the paperwork overseas, wherever you happen to be. But you have to do it on U.S. soil because you cannot notarize documents if you're not on U.S. soil. Now, you can sign electronically, and some programs allow us to do electronic loan signing where everything is done kind of like this via a video feed with the notary, and you sign it on your computer. The challenge is down payment assistance loans currently don't allow for electronic signing. So if you're doing Dream for All, you can't do it electronically, and in that case, you have to go to the U.S. embassy, and it becomes a major timing issue. It's easier if you're trying to do it with the power of attorney at the beginning because you have a lot more flexibility in time. But in the end, we've got to get the documents to you. You've got to set an appointment with the embassy. You've got to bring in the documents, and you've got to get them notarized, and then you have to have them shipped back here, the originals shipped back. And that can take a lot of coordination, a lot of logistics to make that happen. And so just be aware, yes, you can buy a home while you're out of the country, but it is a bit of a process. All right, I am wrapping up. If anybody has any questions, feel free to post them right now because I will be happily answering questions. I am doing my third Q&A session this Monday night. So I've kind of been labeling them Dream for All Q&As, but really it's anything home buying, home ownership related. So Monday at 7 o'clock, this Monday, the 29th, join me. I'll be on my YouTube channels, and I'll be streaming a Q&A where you can ask me any questions you want about home buying, ask me about real estate agents and what's happening with the new laws that are changing with realtors. I'm happy to answer whatever questions you have for me. Join me this Monday night at 7 p.m. All right, so if anybody has any questions, feel free to post them now. It does not look like I've got any questions popping up. So I am simply going to wrap with, don't forget to join me Monday nights. If you have any questions about anything at all, please feel free to reach out to me, and be aware that I am interviewing to be your loan officer. Whether you're looking to buy a home today, you're already a homeowner, whatever your circumstances are, I am interviewing to be your loan officer for life. So if you have questions for me, check out my website, download my mobile app, connect with me and schedule an appointment. I'd be happy to spend 30 minutes with you. No obligation and no cost, answering whatever questions I can. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.